So I was such a huge fan of hers. The Office is one of my all-time favorite shows.
The British Office.
The British Office.
Yeah.
Never saw the American one. Never saw
Kind
it.
of a rude thing to say to me. I said, okay.
But we loved it, and then we met with Mindy, and we really pulled like a scam. Like we showed up at her house
Yeah.
with wearing like suits. Or like not suits, but like blazers.
Blazers and jeans.
Blazers and
like-
jeans, and we brought her flowers.
Brought
We
me
were like,
flowers.
congrats on the show. And then like she hired us, and then like the next day, sweatpants and like
Right.
Yes.
fucking t-shirts with holes in them.
I always wanted this job. And and before I even knew what it was called. And so, yes, this is a dream come true. And that's what I remind myself all the time, because there are challenges, obviously. But the group of people that I make it with, our crew is incredible. And to have the crew, you know, when it's a roller coaster for you personally, and I write about this in my book about it not going here and then going there, for the crew to stick with us, because they don't have to, season after season, to see it through and have those people there from the beginning, that's incredible.
They're
and
so
I mean,
good.
They've seen us nude how many times? So much. So you feel so vulnerable. I feel so vulnerable around this group of people. But it was my dream come true, and in fact, it's incredible. The only thing is that my mom never got to see it, but I think she always knew I had it in me, so I can. But it really is amazing. One piece of advice that BJ Novak gave me very early on about the show was that every episode should have a moment, because the character is so confident and so resilient. And one piece of advice that he had for my character was that he said that every episode there should be a moment when the character says, I'm so scared that I don't get this thing that I want. And I don't know what that's going to say about me. And I think what it was in general was basically feeling vulnerable. And making sure that the character, who is so sassy and so confident and has such a great life, is very vulnerable. I think it's sort of how we thought about it.
So we root for her more.
So you root for her more. Other just incredibly useful advice comes from Howard Klein, who's one of the executive producers and is also my manager of the show, where he always reminds me that besides being a very funny comedy character, that young women should look up to the character and just like not feel like root for her and want to make sure that you don't feel like ashamed for what she does. And also that I'm like a lead female on a show, so I can't do certain things, which is nice to remind myself. Because sometimes in comedy we were like, let's see what we can get away with, and I think he reminds me of that.